watching Numbskull News, and today, talking about BYU, they have some struggles. Quarterback Retzlaff, he's hitting the portal. He's done. Now, the case, all right, the lawsuit for sexual battery, whatever you want to call it, that has been dismissed. So he's no longer under the guise of that. But he did admit to having premarital sex with this young lady. Consensual is what he said. And apparently, with the case being dropped, that's not going to, apparently that's right. Okay, so innocent till proven guilty. That's why we say that. Anyway. But he has hit the transfer portal. At least that's what's being reported. He's facing a 7-game suspension for the honor code. So first, let's deal with the football stuff, and then we're going to deal with the honor code and what other people, other football fans and even fellow Christians think of the honor code, which I have a problem with. So, BYU, I think they're going to be okay. They have a pretty deep quarterback room. Now, they just got a 5-star recruit at quarterback, but, he's not going to help out a lot this year. But they do have a gentleman by the name of McKay Hillstead. They got a Trayson Burgess, I think. I don't know. But the most interesting quarterback they have in there is a Bear Bachmeier from Stanford, former 5-star recruit himself, highly recruited. People like Alabama were going after him. He went to Stanford for whatever reason. Apparently he's got a nice brain in there, and he wanted to use it, apparently. But he has transferred to BYU. So they have some very interesting prospects there. I think there's some talent there. What Retzlaff, though, what he brought to the table was that he knows the system. He's unquestionably the most tenured quarterback they had. And, as far as the coaching staff goes, that's who they would feel comfortable with. But now they're going to have to kind of go into the unknown, have a big quarterback battle, which is not a bad thing. I mean, at least a couple of these guys in here probably have a higher ceiling athletically than Retzlaff does. All right, because, Retzlaff is a nice quarterback. Great, nice story, the whole thing. We all liked him. Part of me doesn't blame him for leaving, but then again, part of me kind of blames him for not manning up. You're the one that broke the honor code. You signed the honor code. You broke it. You don't want to take your medicine. Instead, you want to leave. And apparently, he's already got another big program lined up. Someone who in desperate need of a quarterback with experience. Sounds like Tennessee to me, but that's just me. But other than a deep quarterback room, BYU has a really good defense. They have a fantastic head coach, Coach Satake. I love Coach Satake. And he's got a fantastic staff with him. And I believe he's going to get more out of this team than you may think. The good point of this is coming into the season, last year being 10-2, and they came out of nowhere. So now that Retzlaff is gone, everyone's kind of, BYU, they had a shot, but now, and I was all set to do that too. A little bit of research, doesn't take a lot to realize, hey, this is still a really good team, really good coach. They got some nice quarterback prospects there. If they can get one to step up, if you will, they could have a really nice season. And I mean, they could contend for a Big 12 title still with what they have. So if you want to count them out, all right, if you just want to scratch them off on the calendar, we got to worry about BYU no more. Do that at your own peril, because I believe they're going to beat the hell out of a lot of people this year. They still have that kind of team. But now let's get to something a little more serious. Let's get to this honor code. This honor code. There's a lot of different things in that honor code. They emphasize having, being a virtuous person, living a virtuous life. Part of that is kind of abstaining from sullying yourself, defiling yourself sexually. Okay? First off, why is that a bad thing? It's actually a tenet in the Bible. Not just the Mormon Bible, but the Baptist Bible, the Methodist Bible, the Presbyterian Bible, the Catholic Bible. It's in all of our Bibles. The sins of the flesh. Now, if you read CBS News, which I did, when they talked about this today, of course they wanted to put in all the things of the honor code. It's got to be, no sex that's not between a man and a woman and stuff like that. Even though it had nothing to do with Jake Retzlaff, but they wanted to throw that in there, of course, because the secular news always loves to kick Christianity in the nuts as much as they can. It's all you can expect from an outlet like CBS. Just disgusting crap. Anyway, as I think about BYU as a Christian and how they handle their business, they hold their people to account. What's wrong with that? I'm not saying go overboard with church discipline like you're perfect, but church discipline is a thing. And if a young man messes up, now BYU's about forgiveness. Anyone should be about forgiveness. The whole Bible's about forgiveness. But that doesn't mean that there's not going to be some problems. It doesn't mean you're not going to be held accountable for your actions. Now, Mr. Retzlaff, he's already graduated. He can hit the portal whenever he likes. And apparently he's going to do that. Okay. But other people out there, they look at BYU and the honor code and like, oh, here we go with the honor code. I'm about to give everybody a wake-up call right now. Let's look at some Christian universities out there. Other Christian universities that maybe should have an honor code of some kind. I know they have standards. I know they do. But let's look at some of the crap that goes on in some of these other Christian universities. Let's start with Baylor. Anyone remember the Art Briles era? Oh, I don't have to get into it. It's nightmare fuel. It's crap. It's pretty damn disgusting. And look at the absolute hell that was wrought upon Baylor. A private Christian university. Why was that stuff going on there? Maybe there's not enough emphasis on the faith. Maybe there's not enough emphasis on the faith there. When you're not emphasizing faith, you're going to emphasize something. Look, human beings were built to be servants or sheep. However you want to call it. We're going to follow something. We're going to serve something. We're either going to follow the light or we're going to follow the darkness. We're either going to serve God or we're going to serve the opposite of God. There is no middle ground for a Christian. Keep that in mind. How about TCU? Oh, well, what did TCU ever done? Anyone remember Trayvon Boykin? Anyone ever remember this guy getting arrested? Always getting into trouble. And time again, kept giving him chances, giving him the keys to the program. I mean, as it was happening, I'm like, why aren't we cutting this guy? Oh, because he has talent. He eventually did make it in a short stint in the NFL with Seattle. Do you remember all the times that Trayvon Boykin did great things in the NFL? I don't. But I do remember in 2020, this guy getting sentenced to 3 years for beating the hell out of his girlfriend and witness tampering. That's always a nice little add-on. Witness tampering. I'm good with forgiveness and second chances. But when they're third and fourth and fifth chances, just because the guy has talent, maybe you should be questioning your own faith at that point. This guy's representing a Christian university and he's getting arrested and allowed to come back. Oh, look, we suspended him a couple of games. Not good enough. Not for TCU. Not when you have Christian in the title. And I'm a Horned Frog fan. They're the Fort Worth team here. I'm in Fort Worth, Texas. This is our local team. But it's not above some judgment, not above me pointing a finger when they deserve to have a finger pointed at them, and they do in this instance. Now let's look at SMU. Can I say death penalty? This is a Methodist university, Methodist Christian university got the death penalty for cheating. I know. Look, it was crap. Those rules were crap. Players should have always been paid. Yada, 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 yada. But in the Bible, what does it tell you about the rules that you live under different nations and different governance? Right? What does it tell you? It says to obey the law. Of course, God's law comes first, but obey the law. They didn't do that. Follow the rules. Don't cheat. They did that. And they got the death penalty for it. Destroyed them for decades. A Christian university. Let's not leave out the mighty Notre Dame 2016. Academic misconduct, recruiting violations. They had to vacate victory. This isn't like he said, she said. No. This was proven. They had to vacate victories and got 1 year of probation for it. Even the great Lou Holtz had his scandals. A pay-for-play scandal with Lou Holtz. Of course, it was dismissed because it's Lou Holtz. But does anyone doubt that it happened? I don't. Even Tulsa. Little old Tulsa. Up there in God-fearing Oklahoma have had their scandals. They had a gambling scandal. A gambling scandal where they had to fire their athletic director over. Look, everybody makes mistakes. Every school is going to mess up here and there. You're going to make a bad hire. Things are going to happen. But with all of these schools that I'm talking about, crap. I mean, some of it just the most depraved crap in the world. Some of it just, crap where there's just no excuse. Just no excuse. Cheating. Gambling when you're not supposed to be gambling for college sports. Recruiting violations. All this stuff is cheating. And then I looked up BYU. What are their scandals? Very short list. He said, she said about NIL, this and that. And by the way, other schools, including the ones I mentioned, have those same he said, she said stuff. But I left it out. Why? Because if it's not something provable or has been proven, then there's no reason to mention it. But I'm mentioning it with BYU because that's pretty much all there is. Whenever a problem comes up with a player, discipline happens. They are held accountable. And if they want to leave. Sometimes they get cut. Sometimes they're dismissed from the university because BYU is not going to put up with this crap. It's not just about image. It's not a prideful thing. They take their faith very seriously and they expect their students and student athletes to do the same. I understand Jake Retzlaff is not a Mormon. He's Jewish. Last time I checked, Jews worship the God of Abraham. And I believe Jesus Christ as far as what Christians believe, is the son of the God of Abraham. So, no excuse for Mr. Retzlaff and what he was doing. So, he got held to account. He left. So be it. BYU was going to suspend him. They did the right. Their starting quarterback, 7-game suspension, risking the whole season. Doesn't matter. Not to BYU. If you mess up like that, you got to be held to account, period, end of story. And that's why I have a ton of respect for them. And yes, I did call out these other Christian universities for not really acting like Christian universities and letting crap slide forever instead of holding people to account. Sometimes, if you're a Christian university, be that first before your football, basketball, academic prowess, research, anything. If you're a Christian university, be Christian before anything else. Everything else be damned when it comes to your faith and your devotion to your Maker. BYU does that. And I'm struggling to find another Christian university out there that does it up to their standards. Now, you may be a person that feels that, hey, sex outside of marriage, that's just dumb. These stupid Mormons. Excuse me, that rule is in every Bible you will see. I don't care if you go to a Catholic church, a Baptist church, a Methodist church, any of that, non-denominational, Lutheran, I don't care. Any of them, Church of God, Church of Christ, the Church of Latter-day Saints. That rule is there. And it's there for a good reason. Pull up some statistics of marriage, or, divorce. Pull up some of those statistics. You will find people that have waited for marriage, the percentage of those people that get divorced, minute. It's barely a bump. Everybody else, you're talking over 50% of the country. Regardless, faith or non-faith, they get divorced at a much higher rate when you don't wait for marriage. And I'm saying it's not even close. It is alarming how high those divorce rates are. And look, me and my wife been together for 26 years. There was a couple of times within the first 5-10 years of this marriage, I didn't think we were going to make it. I was convinced we were done. Only by the grace of God did we make it through. It wasn't because of us. We were young, we were stupid, had no idea what the hell we were doing, even though we were in church every Sunday. A big problem, we didn't wait till we were married. And we had other partners before we got married, before we knew each other. We didn't abstain, we didn't wait. Because there's one big fact, I don't care who you are. The first person you sleep with, you always remember them. There's always that connection. It's a natural connection that's supposed to be shared between a man and a woman who is married. And if you don't wait, you waste that connection on some person, well then that's something that kind of gets left behind, left out. When you do get married, they're not your first. So you don't have that special connection, that rock solid connection that can get you through the tough times that me and my wife damn near didn't survive. And I know it comes back to that. I know full well after 26 years of marriage, after God blessing us and getting us through, getting our moronic selves through that, it's one of the big lessons I've learned is that if we had abstained, we had waited for each other, that would have carried us through the hard times. That would have got us through on a multiple different levels. Look, God makes rules like that. Not because he needs the rule. It's because we need it. Because we're stupid. We're stupid sheep and we'll follow anything off of whatever cliff. We're that dumb. We need those guardrails. We need the bumper pads in this bowling alley of life. If not, it's going to be gutter ball, gutter ball, gutter ball. That's what we do. There's many rules that God has in that book. And BYU emphasizes in their honor code, and it's not for the sake of BYU. It's not for the sake even of God. It's to protect you from yourself, from doing something stupid, from your own destruction. Look what it did to Jake Retzlaff. Everyone now is going to look at him with a side eye, even though that court case has been dismissed. We all know once you're accused, a lot of people will always look at you. Always give you some side eye every time your name is brought up because of it. So that damage to his reputation, part of that will never be healed. He did that to himself. You follow that rule, you don't have that problem. You're still the quarterback at BYU. You're going for a Big 12 title. And now, who knows where you end up? Could be good, could be bad, could be indifferent. Trust me, God knows better than you. Which is a big reason why these Christian universities outside of BYU, I wish they would look at what BYU does and maybe use that as an inspiration to kick up their own faith a little bit and live by what God says versus what man and the secular world says. I know that's a lot of preaching, and I know I'm not perfect. I am not the kind of guy to deliver a message and to be passing judgment. I am not worthy to pass any judgment. But as a sports fan, as a Christian myself, when I see BS, I'm going to call it out. And the BS ain't coming from BYU. They're doing the right thing. They're taking their faith very seriously. I just wish everybody else that calls themselves Christians in a Christian university, running a Christian university, would actually act like Christians a little more than they do. That's all I'm saying. So before you want to give BYU a little stink eye, you might want to smell yourself, because the shat might be coming from you. Anyway, thanks for watching this crap, and I'll be back with some more crap later. Bye.